Hey, what's going on, guys? Thank you so much for tuning into the channel. I appreciate your guys' support. I appreciate all the comments. They're so positive, and it just inspires me to come out with more material. And so let me know what you guys want to see. Post comments down below, and I can answer you guys' questions for you. I had a comment about binders in a previous video, so I just quickly want to touch on binders and just give you guys the fundamentals. I'm going to be making short videos, and I'm probably not going to have as much additional information like the slideshows like I've had in my previous videos. I'm still working at the moment. I have a lot going on, but just feeling like I need to get these videos to you guys. I know there's a lot of people with a lot of chronic digestive issues, and these chronic digestive issues can be quite complex mysteries, and I've spent a lot of time studying this, practicing this, working with people, working with mentors, books, courses. So I'm really feeling confident in being able to support you guys with your digestive issues. I've reversed mine, I've helped my wife reverse hers, I've helped friends reverse theirs, and so I would love to be in service to you guys in any way that I can. So like I said in previous videos, if you have any questions, please just give me send an email at dougoforgan@gmail.com, and I'll respond back as soon as possible, and we can possibly do a video chat and see how I can help you guys. But for this video, binders are incredible. I've got activated charcoal right here. Boom. There's also chlorella, like the algae. You've got diatomaceous earth, you've got pteramine clay, bentonite clay. So there's also other binders that primitive peoples used as well. Primitive peoples use binders on a regular basis for just taking care of their gut. Binders are incredible for removing the infectious microorganisms and the toxins that they release, while leaving behind the beneficial microorganisms and the nutrients that are absorbable into the body. They will bind to synthetic nutrients that the body does not use. So essentially, you can think of it as they remove the waste and leave the good stuff. They're incredibly helpful when somebody has, say, like a Candida overgrowth or like a fungal infection, and they're in the process of treating it, and there's die-off. Die-off is when Candida is really pissed off at you and it starts releasing mycotoxins. It's a defense mechanism. It's how they defend themselves. So say you've got the die-off, and you've got die-off symptoms, which may be nausea, you could get a little discomfort in your stomach, cramping, you might even have diarrhea if the infection is bad enough and you're coming at it really hard. So the way to use binders is just a little bit at a time. If you're treating some sort of chronic digestive issue, I would highly recommend having activated charcoal in your protocol, at least in the beginning, for some time. The longest I've heard it recommended to be used for consistently is like a month or two, literally 1 to 2 months. But it's gonna be wiser to just use it with precision, kind of as you need it. It's really important to develop an understanding of how these things work in the body, such as binders, so you know exactly how to use them, when to use them, why you're using them. It's really important that we don't just follow these things blindly because we read some article online, but that we really develop an understanding of not only our body, but how it works in our body. And so the way I would use binders is if I was experiencing die-off. So maybe I was dosing with some coconut oil, like say I put like a tablespoon of coconut oil with a couple drops of oregano. I swallowed it, and I have some like really intense symptoms with some like bloating and it's like clearly die-off. Then what I would do is I would follow that up with activated charcoal. But in the future, when I know that those symptoms are going to be coming forward, what I would do is I would just start taking charcoal, just a little bit, like a 1/4 teaspoon in the morning, a 1/4 teaspoon in the evening. It's really important that you don't constipate yourself, which can happen with binders. A little bit goes a long ways. They can bind about 100 times their weight, and so they're really effective. They have a huge surface area. It's under a lot of pressure when it becomes activated. It's like popcorn, it blows up, and it carries a negative charge. It binds to everything with a positive charge, which is essentially the stuff you don't want. It leaves behind the good stuff, which carries a negative charge. So negative and negative repel each other. Negative and positive, they bind to each other. So it's pretty simple energetics. Sometimes though, they will unbind in the colon. So maybe you've got some sort of infection in your small intestine. It makes it to the colon and it's just sitting there. Maybe it loses its charge, or something happens, it gets unbound, and then you've got some sort of a weird feeling going on in your colon. Enemas can be helpful at that point. So maybe herbal enemas, saltwater enemas. Saltwater with iodine is something I have found to be really effective. Or you can just do like a lemon juice enema to just keep that waste moving. If you have a really bad infection or really bad gut issues, you want to keep that waste moving. You don't want it just sitting in there. So yeah, binders, they're just really helping to pull out all that bad stuff and blunt the die-off symptoms. When we have detox symptoms, die-off symptoms, we're basically getting poisoned. And so it's important that we try to mitigate as much stress and damage on the body as possible. So even though we're getting rid of Candida, it's actually doing damage as it goes out. So binders can really buffer and mitigate that damage that's being done. So I highly recommend experimenting with them. But like said, if you get constipated, back off a little bit, drink a little bit more water. We definitely want to keep our bowels moving. We've got so much impacted waste and who knows what throughout our GI tract. So we would definitely want to keep the gates open, so to speak. And these will even bind, this will bind to heavy metals if they're present in our GI tract. So really powerful stuff. It's something that's been used for thousands of years or who knows how long. It's just really effective. It's inexpensive. It's easy to get. It's easy to use. I recommend taking it on an empty stomach, like in the morning or the evening before you go to bed. Just put it with, maybe a little salt water or, unrefined salt, of course, or just filtered water on its own. Let it do its magic. And you know that it's actually gone through the entire intestinal tract once you actually see it in your stool. You don't want just this black log coming out, because that's an indicator that you've had too much. But if you just start to barely see a little bit in your stool, that means you've got enough in there to where you're effectively binding to whatever's going, whatever stuff you want to pull out of you. And it's really nice to use just in the beginning when you've got that infection, or your intestines are super sensitive and inflamed. And then in the future, it's one of those things that can be just nice routine house cleaning. So guys, if you have any more questions about binders, please post them below. These videos are just off the top. I don't have any material in front of me, so I'm sure I missed something, but hopefully you got the gist. It really helps in detoxification and mitigating the die-off symptoms and helping to remove all those infectious microorganisms and waste that's just sitting in your GI tract. Yeah, questions down below. You can also send me an email at dougoforgan@gmail.com. Peace, take care, until next time.